The tape recorder clicked off. A woman's voice, mid-sentence, vanished into a burst of static. In the dark basement, the only light came from the recorder's small red recording lamp. It was still glowing, but the sound was gone. For a moment, the room was completely silent. Then I heard my own breathing. And something else, a slow, wet scraping sound from the corner behind me. My name is Eleanor Vance. In 1979, my husband David and I investigated haunted houses. We weren't thrill seekers, we were researchers. Tape recorders, cameras, motion sensors, evidence. We believed everything had an explanation. Looking back, that was our first mistake. Because some things don't want to be explained. They want to be remembered. The house sat on a dead-end road in rural Connecticut. An old Victorian with tall gables and black windows that never seemed to reflect light. The owner was a quiet woman named Mrs. Albright. Her priest was the one who contacted us. He refused to enter the house alone anymore. He said he heard whispers in empty rooms. And once he saw a shadow in the upstairs hallway that moved without a body. David didn't take that seriously. He rarely took anything paranormal seriously, but I could tell Mrs. Albright was genuinely afraid of her own home. Before we began the investigation, she told us something strange. Her grandmother used to call the house a listener. She said the house learned things about people, their fears, their memories, the things they loved. Then it used those things against them. David laughed that off. We started our investigation the first night. Recorder in the parlor, camera facing the staircase, motion sensors in the hallway. We slept in sleeping bags on the floor. Around 3 in the morning, I woke up. At first, I thought it was a dream. Then I heard it. Footsteps. Above us. In the attic. Slow, heavy. Thump, thump, thump. David grabbed a flashlight and went upstairs. The attic door was closed and chained. From the inside, the footsteps stopped the second he touched the handle. The next night was worse. I woke up to a whisper directly beside my ear. A child's voice, soft, barely audible. Eleanor. I sat up instantly. David was still asleep. The room was completely dark. The next morning, we checked the tape recorder. Most of the audio was normal, except for one section. 4 minutes of silence. No static, no background noise, just empty tape. But underneath the silence, there was something, a breath. Slow, steady. And it definitely wasn't mine. The activity escalated after that. Motion sensors triggered across the house. One after another. Top floor, hallway, stairs. Then the basement, like something walking slowly through the house. But the camera footage showed empty hallways, no one there, and the timestamps didn't make sense. According to the sensors, the movement lasted 12 minutes. But the video showed it happening in less than 2. That was the night the whispers started appearing on the tapes. Not just my name anymore. Ours, Eleanor, David, and one more name, Martin. We didn't know anyone named Martin. Mrs. Albright's husband had been named Charles, so the name meant nothing to us. David insisted it was radio interference, but the voice sounded wrong, like it was speaking through water. Then the temperature in the house dropped suddenly. The tape recorder in the parlor began spinning on its own, playing audio we never recorded. A lullaby, sung slowly by a cracked voice. Then a child giggled, and the tape snapped. The next morning, we found the torn tape in the basement, but it hadn't broken inside the recorder. It looked like it had been ripped before it was placed in the machine. That's when the dreams started. David and I both dreamed about our childhood homes, except something about them was wrong. Too many windows, too many doors, and something breathing in the attic. A slow, wet breathing sound. When we compared dreams the next morning, we realized we had dreamed the exact same thing. The only difference was this. In David's dream, the thing breathing in the attic had my face. After that, objects began appearing around the house. One morning, we found David's grandfather's pocket watch on the mantle. He had lost it 7 years earlier. The hands were moving backwards. We locked it in a drawer. The next morning, it was lying on David's pillow, open. The glass cracked. That was when we decided to leave. We packed our equipment and headed for the front door. Before we reached it, the phone rang, a rotary phone in the hallway that hadn't worked since we arrived. David answered it. At first, there was only silence. Then a whisper came through the receiver. "Don't go, David." It sounded exactly like my voice, but I was standing right next to him. He dropped the phone. The receiver swung on its cord. Beneath the dial tone, we heard a slow clicking sound, like a metronome. Then the writing appeared. Words forming slowly on the walls in a greasy film. "You stay. We are patient." Martin remembers. The recorder in the kitchen suddenly turned on. A tired man's voice came through the speaker. It said one word: "Remember." Then every light in the house went out. The basement was the worst part. Behind a rusted iron door, we found a root cellar. Inside were shelves, not with food, with cassette tapes. Hundreds of them, each labeled with a name. People who had entered the house before us. One of the tapes had my name on it, and it was already playing. My voice came through the speaker, except I wasn't saying anything I remembered recording. It was talking about memories I never had, secrets from a life I never lived. That's when I understood. The house wasn't haunted. It was collecting people, their memories, their fears, building ghosts out of them. Then a shadow appeared in the cellar doorway. A human shape made entirely of darkness. No face, no eyes, but somehow it was looking directly at us. A long tendril of shadow lifted slowly, first pointing at David, then at me, and every whisper in the house spoke at once. "You are mine now." David ran toward it. He always believed there was a logical explanation. But when he hit the shadow, he passed straight through it. For a moment, he stood there staring at something I couldn't see. Then he smiled, slowly. The same smile Mrs. Albright once described on her dead husband. David looked at me and said quietly, "It remembers." Then he stepped forward and disappeared into the darkness. I ran. I didn't stop until I burst out the front door into the sunlight. The house behind me looked completely normal, quiet, peaceful. The police searched it later. They found nothing, no tapes, no cellar shelves, no sign David had ever been there. They said I imagined everything. Maybe they're right, because I never went back. But sometimes, when I'm driving alone at night, I hear it again. A slow clicking sound, like a metronome. Tick, 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 coming from somewhere inside my head. And I know the truth. The house didn't keep me. It let me go. Because whatever lives there is still learning me. And one day, when it's ready, it will come back for the rest.